And hello again, this is Your City in Action here on Salina Community Access Television. I'm your host, Todd Pittenger from the Rockingham Media Group of radio stations, the news director for the Salina Group of radio stations, mainly News Radio 1150 KSAL. We'd like to thank you for joining us again here on Salina Community Access Television. Great show lined up today. Our guest today, very special guest, Salina Fire Chief Kevin Royce. Chief, thank you so much for joining us. I think this is your first time on the show, right?
It is, Todd, and thank you for having me.
Chief, let's start off. We were talking off camera a little bit. It hardly seems like it. It seems like just yesterday I was writing a story about how Salina's getting a new fire chief. It's been a year and a half now. Tell me a little bit about yourself and where you came from.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Wichita, Kansas. I began my fire service career in 1987 with the Wichita Fire Department. Rose through the ranks of firefighter, lieutenant, captain, some training officers, and became a battalion chief there. In 2013, I had an opportunity to be successfully selected to be the chief in Junction City,
Right.
a little community just a little bit east of here, and was their chief for about 2.5 years. And then when this opportunity arose, I was very fortunate to be selected for the chief of Salina Fire Department.
Wichita, one of the biggest cities in the state of Kansas. Junction City, a little smaller. Salina, back a little bigger. 3 different sizes of cities. That being said, is fire protection pretty much the same wherever you go?
It really is. When we talk about fire protection, we talk about certain things that happen on the fire ground that are universal in any incident. Right. It just depends on the level of experience and the number of resources you have to get those performed.
Again, this is Your City in Action here on Salina Community Access Television. Our special guest today, Salina Fire Chief Kevin Royce. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the Salina Fire Department. Coming here from Junction City, what do you like about Salina? What made Salina more attractive than Junction City?
Well, I've always, in my mind, considered the Salina Fire Department a premier department in the entire state.
It's the best in the state.
It really is. And I'll tell you what, when I was in Wichita, I knew that. When I was in Junction, I knew that, and I really made a concerted effort to prepare myself to take this job. A lot of things. It's just the right size. We perform advanced life support, right, which means we transport patients. It's a fire-based EMS system.
Is that, I know there's some cities where it's separate. The fire department is separate from the ambulance and EMS. Is it common or uncommon for it all to be one?
It's common in smaller communities and uncommon. In Wichita, it's separate. They have a Sedgwick County EMS as a third-party transport. So I didn't have a whole lot of EMS experience, but I will tell you this, fire-based EMS is more valuable to a community than just fire suppression.
I would agree, because your guys, all of your guys are cross-trained and can do it all, right?
Absolutely. We've got some great paramedics under the direction of Dr. Harrington, who's our medical director, that allows them to do things that no one else in the state does. And therefore the citizens obviously see value in that.
Again, we are talking to Salina Fire Chief Kevin Royce here, Your City in Action on Salina Community Access Television. Give me some numbers. Tell me a little bit about the Salina Fire Department. When you are fully staffed, how many firefighters you have, how many trucks do you have? How many stations do you have? I know you've got, 3 different stations located throughout, 4 stations, right?
We have four stations located strategically throughout the community. Central Station at 222 West Elm downtown. Station 2 on about the 1100 block of South Santa Fe. Station 3 is at the 2600 block of Belmont in the southern part of the city. And then Station 4 is addressed off Briarcliff, but it's technically out the corner of Crawford and Marymount.
Right, it's the newest one, is that correct?
It's the oldest.
It's the oldest one, really?
It really is.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact, that's going to be an issue coming up in the next few years. We're going to have to really decide what to do with Station 4. It's going to need to be either relocated or refurbished.
When you're fully staffed, how many firefighters
When we're fully staffed, we run between 25 and 28 a day. The total strength is 93 personnel, including civilians. We have an EMS bureau, a prevention bureau, a suppression bureau, and administration bureau.
How are your numbers right now?
We are fully staffed.
It's rare that I talk to somebody and they tell me they're fully staffed, so good for you, Chief.
Well, we seem to have quite the reputation. Well, one thing that helps us immensely is when some of our paramedics are in school that come to our department, they get to do their ride-alongs with us and get to see our department and see the people and see the things we do. and therefore they're very anxious to try to become one of our members.
Is it an advantage? I think I heard you talk about, I think, 4 different divisions. Is that an advantage when you recruit people? There's a wide variety of things that the guys can do?
Oh, absolutely. I tell firefighters when they're coming into the service that you are in control of your career. If you want to go with the medical side and become a paramedic and enjoy patient care, then that's available. If you like the suppression side, the fire side, you can stay in that. Other divisions such as prevention, if you enjoy inspections or investigations, there's avenues there to go, and administration too.
Again, this is Your City in Action here on Salina Community Access TV. Our special guest, Salina Fire Chief Kevin Royce. Chief, I know we're going to be getting a new fire marshals here soon. Salina Fire Marshal Roger Williams, lengthy career. I've seen him literally hundreds of times at fires. I've texted him, I've called him, I've bugged him 1,000 times. He's going to be stepping down. Talk a little bit, if you would, about Fire Marshal Roger Williams. He's been a great asset, not only to the fire department, but to the city of Salina.
Oh, absolutely. That's going to be a void we're going to really have to work to fill. Fire Marshal Williams has been the fire marshal here in Salina for 16 years, and that's quite a lengthy.
It doesn't seem possible.
It doesn't, and I joke with Roger all the time. He knows everybody. And
he doesn't look that old. How can it be 16 years?
Well,
did he start when he was 6?
He's not only well known here in Salina to everyone, know that he acts as our public information officer many times.
Absolutely.
Has very great relationships with the media. He's also very active in at the state level on the Fire Marshals Council and Conference, and there's just an institutional knowledge that Roger has that you only gain through experience.
Absolutely.
And I talk a lot about how can you measure things that don't happen, and one of the things I'm very proud of here is we don't have a lot of structure fires. Now that's a trend that's going across the country.
And let's not jinx it, okay, Chief?
We'll try not to, but I like to think that a lot of it is because of our prevention people.
Right.
They're out there every day, they're out there inspecting things, they're out there reading plans and not allowing things to be built that could be fire problems. And so therefore, they have a direct impact on the response or the suppression. And the less times we have to respond to an incident, the less times that one of our people could get hurt, not only our people, but civilians.
The last time I think I talked to Fire Marshal Williams, it wasn't at a fire scene. He was actually out at an apartment complex where there was some issue with some safety issues. And he told me, he said, you know, this is the worst thing that I have to do is when I have to do things like this. But what you just said, he had to close some of those apartments. But what you just said, Chief, it makes a great example of why he had to do that. Maybe that's why we don't have so many structure fires, because he's not reactive to that stuff, he's proactive.
Absolutely. It takes a special kind of a firefighter to become a prevention type person. Technically, my expectations are that every firefighter is a prevention person. They should be able to talk to a citizen about prevention, about how to keep things from happening. Now, we all know things are eventually going to happen, and we're prepared for that, and we train for that. But the paradigm of fire service is getting more, and a lot of things can be attributed to that. Some of the things are stricter codes, stricter code enforcement, and some of the materials that are being used, and obviously sprinklers that are being installed in commercial buildings.
Again, we are talking to Salina Fire Chief Kevin Royce here on Your City in Action on Salina Community Access TV. Chief, go through a day in the life of a firefighter. I know you guys, more than any other profession, you have you're kind of a band of brothers. You have such a brotherhood. You spend a lot of time together. Go through, if you would, kind of the normal day, because it's not 24 hours, is it? Is it 24 hours, 48 off, right?
24 on, 48 off.
So what do you do in those 20? Because like you said, there's not a lot of structure fires in Salina. So what do you guys, they're not just sleeping and reading books and playing video games all day, right?
No, they're not. A normal day of a firefighter is obviously shift work.
Right.
And they report to duty at 8 o'clock in the morning. They usually have some form of a meeting to plan out the day that their officers have planned for them. It entails things such as inspections at times. A lot of training is done. They are afforded time for physical fitness. We wholly, strongly believe that's a big part of the
Absolutely.
job. And then, of course, that's in between any alarms they're making. Another thing too that we've realized in the few years with a fire-based EMS system is 80 to 83% of our calls are medical related, or the EMS side.
Right.
So what we have done is we've created response forces that incorporate the suppression people in with the EMS. We do this for a number of reasons. Number one, it's a better service to the community. Number two, there are issues that prevent our people from possibly being injured while they're performing the EMS function.
And I know there's a ton of training that goes on because you have to be ready for basically anything. Just in my career, I've watched the Salina Fire Department one time, the river was way up and then there was someone stranded in the middle of the river. They came out and rescued him. I saw somebody that had fallen down off a rock wall down and they had to lower a leader down and pull him up. I've been to countless fires. You never know what you're going to get when you come in each day, right?
Absolutely. We consider ourselves an all-hazard fire department, which means we can handle technical rescues like you mentioned. We can handle hazardous materials incidents such as the Tony's incident this past spring.
And periodically I will hear the Salina hazmat team get paged out to go somewhere else around Kansas. You go assist other agencies too, correct?
We do. We're very fortunate. Both our hazardous material team and our technical rescue team are part of the state agencies, task forces that can be deployed in other parts of the state. And therefore they have to meet training requirements and other type of requirements to maintain part of that, which we offer to our people additional training. And the fact that we can actually go to another community and assist them is very important to us.
You've got a really, for lack of a better word, a really cool tower behind the fire department where you do some training. Occasionally I'll see smoke coming out of that. I'll hear some weird things going on the scanner and I'll call dispatch, say, is anything going on? So no, just the fire department's training. Tell me about that training tower you have downtown.
Right, we are fortunate enough that we have our own training tower. It's behind Station 1 on West Elm. Therefore, when we have our own recruit classes, we take them through that. It consists of about a 4-story structure with standpipes and sprinkler systems and stairs.
You can fill that thing with smoke.
We can do what is considered live burns. And we maintain most of our in-house training through there. Another thing we do is we offer up that for the numerous fire districts that surround Salina for them to get additional training.
For the rural firefighters?
For the rural fire districts to come in. Their chiefs, all of their chiefs are highly entwined with our department, and we work very well with them.
And I think some of their chiefs are actually Salina
We do.
firefighters, is that correct?
We have some people, a lot of them are. A lot of them.
Well, tell me about, how does the jurisdiction work? Where do they pick up and where do you leave off when it comes to fighting a fire?
We are responsible for any...
The city limits or?
For the city limits for suppression only.
Right.
For the county is for the emergency medical system.
And that's for traffic crashes along Interstate 70 and things like that also.
Absolutely. We have great mutual aid assistance programs where they can call for us for help at any time. We've actually utilized their services and their people several times when we have a large incident. Tony's was the last one I can think of, where they can actually come in and backfill some of our stations and respond within the city. We're very fortunate.
When is it typically, statistically speaking, when do you see the most fires? Would it be fall when people are just starting
winter,
to start their
winter,
fireplaces back up?
Absolutely. People that either for whatever purposes have not had their systems, their heating systems checked out. And the colder it gets usually indicates more fires.
And I'm overloading my socket with all those Christmas lights too, right?
Yeah, that probably doesn't help. It can happen, electrical problems too.
Again, we are talking with Salina Fire Chief Kevin Royce, Your City in Action here on Salina Community Access TV. Chief, look into the future. I know I'd asked you, you got any big pieces of equipment that you need to, that you're looking at getting? Really not. You're just looking at maintaining what you have now. Is that correct?
We are. Our next fire apparatus that's due for replacement is an aerial device, a ladder truck, probably in 2019, and we'll start speccing that out early next year, and that will be replaced. We have a couple of facility issues. One would be Station 4, as I mentioned, that we're looking at the possibility of upgrading
Some upgrades on that.
It's just an old building. It was never really designed for its purpose now, and the possibility of maybe even moving it somewhere.
Anything else you'd like to get out? Anything else maybe I should have asked and didn't ask, or anything else you would like people to know about the Salina Fire Department?
No, I'm very excited and happy to be here. I think our department, I know our department is the premier department within the entire state. I kind of measure ourselves against other people And some of the things we do, no one else is doing, not only in Kansas, but in any other place. And I think my predecessor, Chief Mulliken, has created a culture
Right.
that embellishes and embodies all of our employees, that they are part of it. Most fire departments are usually paramilitary. The orders come down, the work goes out.
Right.
We tend to turn that triangle upside down and allow a good build-in of our people, and therefore I think that's one of the reasons that we get good quality people and they like working for us.
And once they start working for you, they don't leave.
They really don't. That was usually my barometer in my other job as a fire chief. I
Right.
would always wonder. Some of the younger people coming on would always look to go to the bigger cities and to
Right.
go places, but it seems that most of the people that we get, as in all of them since I've been here, other than retirements, they're happy here, they have family here, this is a great community to live in and raise a family, and they really enjoy serving the community.
Chief, sounds like you're doing something right. I appreciate you coming in, and don't take this the wrong way, but I really don't see you that often. Let's keep it that way, because typically when I see you, something bad is going on somewhere.
That's true, Todd, that's true, and I won't take it bad.
And Chief, I appreciate it very much. Again, Salina Fire Chief Kevin Royce, this has been Your City in Action on Salina Community Access TV. Thank you so much for joining us.